In this lesson, we will learn how to add either lag or lead time, which is negative lag, in Microsoft Project. In an earlier lesson, we learned how to do simple task linking between tasks. We will use that network logic we entered before to learn how to add lag or negative lag, which is the same as lead time, to our schedules. These techniques should work for all versions starting from Microsoft Project 2013 all the way to the most current versions of Project. Before we get started, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to this channel, and hit the bell so that you get notifications when I publish a new video. First of all, let's define what is lag time in project scheduling, and then we will learn how to apply it in Microsoft Project. Lag time is the delay between tasks that have dependency or relationships. For example, if you need a 10-day delay between the finish of one task and the start of another, you can establish a finish to start relationship and enter 10 days of lag time. If we use scheduling best practices and look at a schedule assessment like the DCMA 14-point assessment, it measures all task lag time and only permits up to 5% of the scheduled tasks to have this type of task relationship. The reason is that to use lag, you have to put it behind the scenes, and therefore it is not clearly visible in the schedule. And the schedule has to be transparent. So it's easy to forget that there is lag between tasks, which can cause issues down the road. A better way to represent this is by using a schedule visibility task, or SVT. We will learn how to use that in the next lesson. But for now, I will teach you how to add lag if that's the route that is best for your schedule. Let's learn how to add lag in Microsoft Project. We will continue with the sample project schedule we've been using for a few lessons. Here, this schedule is now completely linked with predecessors and successors. Now we're going to choose two tasks that are already linked to add lag. So we're going to add lag. We're going to pick line 15 and 16. Here we can see that engine modification is a successor to wing modification, and wing modification is a predecessor to engine modification. So now what we're going to do is open up our bottom pane, and to do that, we need to not have our timeline. I do not have the timeline showing, but if you have the timeline showing, then you need to take that off first. So I right click, and if you have your timeline showing, you need to click on show timeline so it goes away, and then you have to come back here and click on show split. Since I don't have it, I'm just going to click on show split, and now I have my screen split into top and bottom pane. So I'm going to take this pane and take it a little bit lower. And here you can see that I have the predecessor on one side and the successor on the other column in this section where it has all the information for engine modification in the task form. If you don't have that right now, you can go to this gray area of the screen right next to the information for the task and right click, and then click on predecessors and successors, and you should get there. So what I want to do is right here, wing modification and engine modification. I want to add lag. So if I want to add lag right here in the predecessor column, so we have to have the predecessor column, I can type in, it is a finish to start relationship, as you can see right here, but I have to specify it right here. So I'm going to put FS and then plus, and then I'm going to put 10. So plus 10 means it's a lag of 10 days, meaning the next task will lag between wing modification and engine modification. There's going to be a 10-day lag. So I'm going to put 10 right here, and I'm going to click enter. All right. And you can see now here, you can see that if I hover over it, it says that the task will finish on 4/30/2021. And this one, if I hover over it, it says it's going to start on 5/17/2021. That means that there is a 10 workday lag, not a 10 continuous calendar lag, but 10 working days. So that's 2 weeks. And if we go look here in our information right here, and we click on engine modification to make sure we are there, you have to see engine modification up here or whatever task you're working with. And you can see here, it says 10-day lag. So let's go back here and take that away. Change it back to just the predecessor being line 15. And we are back where we started. You can also have done Control Z to undo. So the other way to do it, instead of typing in there, you can see here that wing modification is the predecessor of engine modification. So I can see that here it's an FS type. And then right here, I can just type in 10 days. And I click OK. And you can see now that I have this 10-day of lag here in the predecessor. And if I look at the successor right here of wing modification, I can see here that line 16 is going to happen as a finish to start relationship with 10 days lag. And you can see it down here. Wing modification and line 16 has a 10-day lag. The other thing that you can do is that, let's go back to engine modification. What you can do is actually put percentages on your lag. So if I delete this or put 0 right here and click OK, I'm taking the lag off and you can see there's no more lag. You can also do percentages. So right here I can put actually, I'm going to have to type 50%. You have to put the percentage sign and then click OK. And now you have a 50% lag, meaning it's going to take 50% of the time and add a lag to that. So 50% of this wing modification is 10 days, so it's going to add 10 working days. So we are back to 5/17/2021, 2 weeks after the finish of wing modification. So the reason that we would probably put this lag in here is because I went to talk to my project team and they told me that they need a specialized team to do engine modification, and they can only come 10 days after wing modification is done to start the engine modification. So we need a specialized engine modification team. Let's now go and define what lead time is. A lead is a negative lag between two tasks in which a task starts before the finish date of its predecessor. Using leads can have adverse effects on the project total float, or if using Microsoft Project, then you will look at total slack, therefore making it more difficult to determine the true critical path. Using scheduling best practices or a schedule health assessment such as the DCMA 14-point assessment, it measures the total tasks that have a negative lag, also known as lead. The measure has a 0% tolerance for leads. That means that it's best not to use any leads in your schedule. If you are faced with thinking the only solution to your network logic in your schedule is to use a negative lag or lead, then let me say that there are 2 ways that you can better resolve this issue. The quickest and probably just a partial solution usually used in this situation is to use a start-to-start relationship and then add a positive lag. It's acceptable, but the task doesn't have a link to what happens when it finishes. The better solution is to break up your task into smaller tasks to be able to better represent the logic in the schedule without a lead. But if you need to know how to add a lead, I will now walk you through it in Microsoft Project. So what we're going to do is add a lead between material planning and long lead items. So between 11 and 12, right here, we're going to need a lead. So what I'm going to do is go ahead, I can type it in here like we saw before. We can actually go in here. Since it doesn't have any letters at the end, I know this relationship is a finish to start relationship. If you need a review on that, you can watch a previous video on how it explains all those relationships. So right here, I'm going to put FS. And then like before I put a plus, this time I'm going to put a minus. So it's going to take away days. So that's negative lag, or better known as leads. So I'm going to put a space and then I'm going to do 5 days. And I'm going to click on enter. And now you can see clearly here that the bar moved 5 days before the start of the task 11, which is material planning. All right. So you can see it here in the dates. It's going to start on 1/25/2021, even though the predecessor will end on 1/29/2021. So we can also do it, instead of doing here, I'm going to click Control Z to undo, or you can actually go up here to your undo button at the top of your window. I'm going to do undo. And then I'm going to go again to line 12. It's long lead items. And here, the predecessor material planning. And I'm going to go ahead and put a -5 in here. So I don't have to type in anything in my predecessor column. And then, of course, I'm going to click OK. And now you can see that it puts it in automatically. It's 11. Finish to start -5 days. Okay. You can also do the same thing. Let me do a Control Z. And you can put in negative lags. You can put it in percentages. You can do -20 and you have to put the percentage sign and click OK. And then it's going to be -20% of the time, which is 2 days instead of 10. So this is going to be starting 2 work days before the end of material planning. You can see it here clearly here. This one ends on 129, but long lead item starts at 128. So that is how we do that. In this lesson, you learn how to add lags and negative lags, also known as leads, into your schedule in Microsoft Project. My name is Minerva Goree, and I'll see you in the next lesson.